Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today we have our regularly scheduled weekly replay video. Today featuring the Tier 8 Premium Italian battleship, the Roma. Now, the Roma is a ship that I don't have the best ever history with. It's a ship that I hated for a very, very long time. I found it to be, especially when I first acquired her, one of the most frustrating ships in the game, period. Why? Well, the Roma is a pretty good boat in most aspects. Her armor is great, her maneuverability is great, her turret traverse is actually amazing for a battleship. Her concealment's really good, but her main battery guns, well, again, a lot of aspects about them are quite good. The AP is fantastic when it bites. The reload time is solid for, having 9 15-inch guns on a Tier 8 battleship, but the dispersion is absolutely abysmal. The Roma's main battery guns, man, they would miss the side of a barn from within the barn if they could. It feels like, at least when I wind up playing the Roma. Now, what's not also overly fantastic about that is that the AP guns, the AP shells I just talked about, that are really hard hitting when they do bite, they're a little too hard hitting. So typically what will happen with the Roma is that you'll find a cruiser or a battleship, blast its broadside with your guns. Most of the shells will go in the water or miss, and then the one or two shells that actually connect, they'll overpin and do menial amounts of damage, even against battleships, which is absolutely wild, if you don't hit them right on their main armor belt. So, of course, that is a very frustrating situation to deal with when it comes to the Roma. However, when she does work, behold, 18,000 damage from a broadside Bismarck. It's a roll of the dice every time with the Roma if you're shooting at range. Sometimes the dice roll in your favor. A lot of times they don't. So it wasn't until, I'd say about a year or two after I had originally picked up the Roma that I actually got her to work more often than not, using her speed and her concealment to get into those close range engagements more often than long range engagements. And at close range, the ship is actually quite fearsome, especially with that Italian AP. And keep in mind, oh, look at that. Look at that. That's a Citadel and a Magi. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. So, man, if you are someone who has spent more than a small amount of time shooting at an Amagi, you know that it feels like when you're shooting at an Amagi, you're getting nothing but, shatters or torp protection hits. But the Roma just, clears a shell from across the map straight into the Citadel. That's what we're talking about here. So yeah, it's a very frustrating ship if you aren't used to the Italian battleships. But then the Italian battleships can only at 22k to pretty not overly steeply angled, but an angled North Carolina. The Italian battleships came out, and they have dispersion that's about on par, if not actually worse than the Roma, because the Roma doesn't have SAP. She has HE. So, of course, when you are given the SAP munition, that's a pretty potent munition type because it pins where just about every single other AP shell would overpin, but it has higher alpha damage rating than the HE shells that most other ships get. So you're pinning more, you're doing more damage. So often the trade-off with SAP shells is you get a longer reload time or less accurate guns. With the Italian tech line battleships, they got both. So, playing them made me appreciate the Roma a little bit more. Granted, since I've originally went down the Italian battleship line, they have received quite a bit of love in terms of their reload time and their accuracy. But anyway, now that we're 5 minutes in this replay video, I shall introduce the driver of this Roma, which is none other than Grim, a member of TSOF. He sent in this replay into the channel, and it's a pretty good one from the description that we received. Granted, again, I don't know exactly what happens in the match, but I have an idea, and it should be a pretty good Roma game from here on out. Oh, come on. That's enough side on that North Carolina to Citadel it. Or not. It's just so weird. He did aim at the upper belt. Granted, he probably could have gone for the Citadel there, given that North Carolina has, well, an amazingly exposed Citadel on her side there. But anyway, so he did get a good roll there on that North Carolina, considering it wasn't a ooh. That North Carolina is about to go down here, probably from the, if not from these shells, from the fire that you start. Look at that dispersion. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. 3 kilometers away, 2 shells actually hit something important, popping old boy's range. Oh, this is a furious build, Roma. Oh, look at that. So he's got a 10% buff to his reload time now. So now he has like what, a 27-second base reload time with this one fire. Let's see. Yeah. So like 26 seconds with adrenaline rush kicking in there. This is an interesting build, Grim. Okay, I was not expecting that. So the way Furious works, every instance of fire or flood you have on your ship, you get a buff to your reload time. The first buff is a 10% buff. For every additional instance past that, it's another 5% buff to your reload time of your weapon systems. Let's see. So you're going to blind fire this Z23. He gets radared. And let's see. Oh, he put HE in the tubes. Unfortunately, Roma does its thing. That one fire went out, but he got set on fire again, so he's still reaping the benefits of that Furious skill. Now, of course, the trade-off for the Furious skill is that, of course, you have to be on fire to make use of it. So you're taking damage, obviously, in order to get this buff. Situation as far as the game goes, the friendly team does have the B cap at the moment, but the Bismarck in B is currently flipping it. Enemy team has yet to secure any other caps, although they did sink the one of the friendly cruisers, and there goes another friendly cruiser, the Siegfried there. Looks like this Castonis is going to get out. Yep, he's going to get the Z23 out. He sure did. There's a Riga there, who's fairly broadside, and Grim should have him here pretty well, depending upon how well the Roma dispersion wants to work. Riga's got some chunkier armor, so the shells shouldn't have a problem arming on it. They do not. 16,800 damage there. A beautiful roll there. He's up to 105,000 damage by the 12-minute mark. Pretty impressive. The Casonis popped his radar to keep that Riga spotted. The Iowa or the Vanguard should deal with that Riga. Oh, if the Casonis' torps don't here. Alright, so Grim's going ahead and pushing into the C-cap with his Roma. Lion takes out the friendly U-190, leaving the friendly team submarineless. John Bart's broadside here. Let's see what that does. And what I tell you. The shells are so goofy on this thing. The pin that he did... Oh, okay. The Riga managed to get the Castonis there. That's unfortunate. I think the Riga... I mean... He should be dead now, right? Between the Iowa and the Vanguard. But yeah, I mean, that roll in the Jean Bart, that's textbook Roma. The only pin was to his turret. He did knock out the turret. Okay, Amagi again. Again, look at that dispersion. It's just so nuts. From 11 kilometers away, guys. Oh, man. You know, he nailed him in the Citadel from across the map earlier, but from 11 kilometers, can't even touch him. It's so funny. Alright, Jean Bar is... Okay, good. They did get the Riga. Jean Bar throwing some HE at the Roma. Jean Bar is angled out now. So you got the Alaska, the Amagi, and the Jean Bar all angled out and kiting away at the C-cap. The enemy team has done better at the A-cap than the friendly team, so they're about to get that. Not looking good for the friendly team here. They're down ships. They're about to be down on caps as well. And, okay, Zuma does finish off the Bismarck there. This is a tier 9 game, so Grim is indeed not top tier in this situation. This is a tier 9 and tier 7 game, or just a tier 9 and tier 8 game? Okay. So you did get up tiered by a singular tier. Looks like they are focusing on the Jean Bar, which is... I mean, it's great that they're actually focusing on something. Granted, he is in a division at the moment. Okay. Ooh, look at that juicy Jean Bar side. I think that those are HE shells, though, because he was angled outward. Yep, he did get a fire on him, so at least he's got that going. He knocked out a secondary gun there. One of his division mates is in a Brandenburg, whose secondaries you can see chewing on the Jean bar. Okay, the friendly Cossack, who's also in a division with Grim, is going for the cap. HE coming in from the Jean bar, missed him. Ooh, that is a nice side to have there with the Alaska. Got the front 2 turrets off on him. But what does RNG say? RNG says you can have a singular citadel. 1 pin, 1 citadel. A singular citadel and not a modicum of damage on top of that, except for the overpin. Alright, Amagi, Alaska. Amagi's closer, bigger target, less to go wrong with RNG, but Alaska is still showing him broadside. So Grim gives him all 9 barrels. That should be a dead Alaska there. Maybe. 39 HP. That's what I'm talking about. The Roma is such a troll. It is such a troll of a ship, guys. Alright, so the Alaska is sunk thanks to Keb's secondaries on his Brandenburg. Jean bar, can you get the Jean bar here, maybe? Even bigger target than an Alaska. Like, Alaska's not a small ship, right? But my god, does RNG do things. A little bit too much lead there on the... Okay, there we go. Cool. Manages to get enough shells in the bow that the overpins do deliver enough damage to him to sink him. Unfortunately, Keb does go down courtesy of the Amagi, but he does take the. I'm sorry, he didn't take anybody with him. The Grim and the Roma took the. Oh, there's a submarine there. Took the Jean bar with him. Now the Amagi is broadside. Thankfully so, because he's having to choose to angle to either Grim and his Roma or the Iowa and Vanguard in the back. Pac manages to kill the black that was in the B cap with it. Was trying to get to the B cap with him. All right, there's strike team. All right, so the friendly team from up north is now transitioning down south. Things are starting to kind of sway back toward the friendly side of things with the caps. That is a Shimanto. Is that a Shimanto with a silver camo? Please death strike this man. Ah, oh, dang. 2 overpins. It would have been beautiful if we would have just deleted him off the map. But honestly, the Shimanto's armor is so thin, and the AP on the Roma is so good. I doubt he'd be able to Citadel him if the Shimanto isn't steeply angled, which looks like is going to be something that is lining up at the moment. You have a Lion pushing up from the A-cap, out of the A-cap. So he's going to be mindful about giving him that broadside. Okay, that's more of an angled target than the Shimanto. That should give the shells more to bite into, but look at that dispersion. It's all over the... Never mind! 19,000. Look at that. 19,000 damage and was that 3 citadels? Beautiful. God, this ship is just so random. I love it. All right, rear turret out on the Amagi from 13 kilometers. I'll say, I swear to God, if that's a citadel, that would just be, you know, the cherry on top here. 2 forward turrets out on the Amagi. Ooh, Amagi's turning. Yep, rolls his citadel over. Gets a couple citadels there for 16,000 damage. You gotta watch when you turn, guys. All that armor that looks great in port, you know, when you turn, your ship does roll. That does happen in wood warships. So that can expose your citadel to those shells. So you gotta be mindful about that. All right, Lion, 12 kilometers away. Got both forward turrets out, but looks like the island ate most of the shells from the first turret. 2 overpins there on the Lion from 12 kilometers. Look, oh, okay, Minnesota finishes him off. All right, Grim is up to 201,000 damage so far. 4 kills, all the awards in the world at the moment. So we've got a Kansas left and an enemy submarine that's lurking about somewhere. Thankfully, the friendly side over at the C cap, they managed to roll through C and then roll hard down into the middle cap. They didn't stop. They didn't, decide to all cower behind an island or anything, like so many teams do. They just kept on rolling down south. That's what you got to do to keep that momentum up and get that situation flipped. All right, going bow into the Kansas. I think that's going to dodge. Yeah, he dodged most of his shells there. And a little bit of damage there from probably a shell pinning his torpedo protection at that angle. Kansas is a pretty chunky boy. If he can get to his side, that's just a feast for Roma's AP. Now, where is this? What submarines left up? The U-190. We saw him a little while ago, but he hasn't been seen too much since then. Ah, here comes the Kansas from 7 kilometers away. Even Roma's guns don't really miss at this range. I say this, watch, half of them are going to go in the water. I mean, the Kansas is a big target, though. There we go. 6 of them hit. 16,000 damage there through the superstructure. This is what I'm talking about the Roma. Look how maneuverable it is. He's just turning and merely avoiding the shells or forcing the shells to go into his armor. It's such a maneuverable ship. It's a thing of beauty. Now, the thing about the armor on the Roma is that it's great from an angled in position, but the side armor is not too great. Look at that. Look at that. Only 2 shells hit. The rest went in the water. Again, gotta love the Roma. Fires on Grim. So he's getting that nice 10% buff to his reload time at the moment. Looks like we can get a little bit of a drive-by here. Oh, nope, nope, nope. Grim is using the ultimate tool that every single ship has access to, but many forget about, is the singular big torpedo. It's a nice roll there, 19,000 damage. Pops his heel, full ahead commander, into the stern of the Kansas for Kraken Unleashed and coordinated attack. 260,000 damage done. Man, with 5 kills, and again, every award under the sun just about. Man, So look, the guy started it in chat, right? I mean, he has a right to respond to that. There we go. The Vanguard managed to sink the U-190. All right, so he should be top of the team with that. 260k in a tier 8 in a tier 9 game. Yeah, so he does have the fancy Roma camo, so he's got the incredible income. So he's got 1.4 million credits, 260,000 damage, 23,000 XP after modifiers, 13,000 free XP after modifiers. General Offensive, Strike Team, Confederate, Shoulder to Shoulder, Kraken Unleashed, Coordinated Attack, the Division Kraken, and High Caliber with 5 kills, boys and girls, for a 3,000 base XP game. Again, it's not like the Roma was in a tier 6 game, it's in a tier 9 game, so that's even more so impressive there. So, Roma, yeah, you know, a ship I absolutely despised and hated when she first came out, but as you guys see here, when RNG smiles upon you, and you are a skilled player such as Grim is, Roma can really go a long way in today's World of Warships. You just gotta, pray to RNG that the dice roll in your favor, and know how to maneuver the ship, make best use of her armor, speed, and her concealment, and yeah, things will happen indeed. So if you guys have a awesome replay you'd like to send into the channel, you can send it into the email in the description down below, or you can submit it on the community Discord in the replay channel. Link to that is also in the description down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday and wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.